CTM, they just dropped one of the strongest earning reports in quite some time. And a quick run through, real quick, with where CTM is right now. We're having a very good pre-market session, currently up 17.81%, been up as much as, I believe, 23 to 25%. And Claude does have strong one-year projections for the stock at a one-year projection of 94 cents. We closed the day yesterday around, I believe it was, like 65 cents, and we've gone up as high as 82 cents in the pre-market session. And shout out to the Discord community, link will be below. They did go over all of the financial earnings. They put a link to the report for Castellum, and you just click it over here, and I'll check that out with you guys right here. And going into the actual financials of the company, we do see here that revenue is up 23% as we compare it to what it actually came in at $14.3 million compared to the $11.7 million in Q1 of 2025. They got a record backlog. Again, it's reached a record of $273.3 million as of March 31st, 2026, up from $265 million at December 31st, 2025. Their pipeline is totaled at $938 million as of March 31st. So it's almost $1 billion, guys. And it's up from $817 million as of December 31st, 2025. And even though we've already known this, I would say that potentially what could also be the most important thing, again, maybe, just in my opinion, is the fact that even though we already knew this, is that CTM is now debt-free. And management, they were very confident in the wording that they used. And management, they did say that they have officially entered what they call phase 3 of Castellum's evaluation. This was not a normal microcap earnings report, and I do want to break it down with you guys. So if you enjoy my content, please hit the like and subscribe button. And if you ever need help making better decisions with investing, simply take a look at the first link below to get access to my community and support yourself with like-minded investors and get access to the world's leading AI models, Claude, Gemini, OpenAI, and Grok. Get all of this software for $7 in my community, and my community is free. Now, again, let's first talk, again, without going on too much of a rant, let's, again, go over the financials. So their revenue that they reported was at $14.3 million, which is up 23% year over year. So last year during the same quarter, they did about $11.7 million. Now, why this would be important is because management, they specifically said this growth comes from ramping up long-term contracts that they won in 2025. That means that these aren't just press releases anymore. These contracts are now turning into real revenue. And for government contracts, recurring contracts, contract revenue is everything. And the next part is very important for CTM investors. And it's something that I really have been paying attention to and hoping for and looking out for, is the fact that their net loss, it improved from $1.2 million, and it's down all the way to $0.4 million in this quarterly report. That is massive improvement, and the EPS also improved from -1 cent to basically break even. So CTM still technically lost money, yes, but they are getting much closer to becoming profitable. And adjusted EBITDA almost improved significantly as well. And I do know for a fact that besides the PR issues, I do know that what people want to see is back-to-back consistency and profitability for the company. They want to see 2, 3, 4 quarters back-to-back in the net profit rather than it being a net loss. Now, I'm not trying to downplay everything that this report is saying, but what I am trying to say is that once that happens, we're probably going to see a lot more heavy institutional investors buy in once we see that. Not from just one quarter, because we did have the first historic profitable quarter in Q3 of 2025 that did happen, but it was just one off quarter. We want to see that for 2, 3, 4 quarters back to back to back, and I do anticipate that will happen eventually. And when it does happen, it's going to be big good news for the company. Now, honestly, this may be the most important part of the entire report, even with what I said, I've been looking out for a lot with the profitability, but CTM, since they officially paid off their remaining long-term obligations during the quarter, meaning that CTM is now debt-free. This is huge for a small cap company because debt, that's typically what destroys a lot of the micro cap stocks, and it creates dilution fears, interest expenses and financial stress, because as we know, Castellum, a lot of the people that are into Castellum, hear about Castellum, invest in Castellum, one of the biggest fears they have, other than just a reverse split, is dilution concerns. So this does help alleviate some of the pressure and fears that investors would have with dilution, because now CTM, they have a cleaner balance sheet, lower financial risk, and more flexibility moving forward. They're not just surviving, they're thriving, and they're expanding because they're not in a state of survival where they have to only focus on surviving day to day. They can now think more long term, have more flexibility, and have more room to grow in ways that they couldn't before. And what really caught my attention too, guys, sorry about that. What really caught my attention was the fact that their backlog, which is one of the main things that a lot of people talk about when it comes to Castellum CTM, because everyone talks about how it's like a 4.5 year runway. Their backlog increased. Is again, the 265 million, that was the record back then, and they still increased their backlog even more within the quarter. It's and that backlog gives the company, they still have multi-year revenue visibility, and management even said that around 16% should convert into revenue within 12 months and around 49% within the next 24 months. That's important because backlog, it's basically future contracted work. But then it gets even more interesting because the qualified pipeline has exploded higher to $938 million. So, God, I can't state this enough. It's almost $1 billion, guys. $1 billion. That's the B word for Castellum CTM. And it is something that is very good news for Castellum CTM in the long run. And that tells you there are more opportunities, more government demand, and potentially more future contracts coming on the way. And remember what sector CTM is involved in: cybersecurity, electronic warfare, AI and machine learning, CMMC compliance, and defense engineering. These are some of the hottest areas in defense right now. And Castellum CTM is positioning themselves to capitalize on in the sectors that they are currently in. They're positioning themselves in a way to really benefit in the long term. And management, they specifically mentioned leveraging their new CMMC certification as a competitive advantage for the Department of Defense contracts, and this could become very important moving forward. But the thing that really stood out to me was management saying CTM, and we already knew this, but CTM has entered phase 3 of Castellum's evolution. And the reason why I'm stating that is because even though I knew that, they're saying it with such confidence and such strong language that to me, what it sounds like is management believes that the cleanup phase is over, the survival phase is over, and now they're focused on scalable long-term growth. And they also talked about organic growth, strategic acquisitions, expanding capabilities, and increasing shareholder value. And now, to keep this all balanced, this was not a perfect report. Gross margins, they were slightly pressured due to contract mix, and CTM still isn't fully profitable yet. So some investors, they might still wait for stronger earnings, higher margins, or full profitability. But overall, this was a much healthier report than what we've seen from Castellum CTM in the past. So overall, this earnings report attacked a lot of the biggest concerns that investors had about CTM, because now the company has strong revenue growth, improving profitability, record backlog, a growing pipeline, and no long-term debt. So for a microcap defense and cybersecurity company, this is a pretty big shift in the story, but I want to know what it is you guys think. Do you think CTM is finally turning the corner, or do you still think investors should stay cautious? So please comment below what it is you think on Castellum CTM, and if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like and subscribe button, as I do appreciate all the support from you guys. So with that being said, guys, InvestQ out. Stay safe. Keep making good decisions with your portfolios, and I'll see you on the next video.